To you, what is power or influence and how is it best used?
Power is something that can make you change and mold opinion. It's never physical, but the persuasiveness of what you do, either by communication or by example, is how you make an impact with your strength or power. I can say this siguro for most of my colleagues in the profession. Money is not our main goal in rendering this kind of commitment or service. There's always a service accompaniment to what we do. I just hope that government really puts substantial budget on healthcare. Pero budget na gagamitin na maayos for healthcare.
Yung mapupunta talaga sa
Budget
healthcare,
na hindi
no?
mapupunta sa selected packets of corrupt officials.
He's a well-known interventional cardiologist and is currently the interim co-CEO of Makati Medical Center. Today, we're sitting down with Dr. Saturnino Bong Javier. Join us as he talks about the challenges and triumphs of leading one of the Philippines' premier healthcare facilities, only here on Power Talks. Good afternoon, Dr. Javier.
Good afternoon.
It's so nice to be here. We're so excited because, Doc, you're actually the first doctor that we've had on the show. So, very different perspective ang makukuha namin from you today, and we're very excited for this conversation. Thank you for having us, Doc.
I'm honored and thank you for having me.
Did you always want to be a doctor?
No, doctor, yes. Doctor, yes. From my college days, being a doctor was part of my aspiration in life. No? But I will tell you that becoming a doctor was more like parang peer group kind of influence. Because many of the people in my class, at least, I came from BS Biochemistry of UST. A good number of people in my group wanted to be doctors. So sabi ko rin. I also
Sama
want to be a
ako.
doctor. Sama ako.
So, going into biochemistry, your plan wasn't yet to go straight to med school?
It kind of gave me the opportunity to consider medicine because I was in a biological field. So it became an easy pathway to get into medicine.
What is a typical day like for you?
For the most part, days usually spent, making rounds, seeing patients in the clinic, because I've not given up my clinical practice completely. And then, of course, you have meetings as part of your administrative job and responsibility. That you usually occupy several hours of meeting with different divisions, different departments.
You're really at the helm of, the day-to-day operations. But like you mentioned, you haven't given up your clinic. Was there ever a time that you thought of maybe just choosing one or focusing on the other?
Never, Pia, because I felt like to be effective as a clinical leader, you need to be in touch with the clinical environment that you work in. You need to have the pulse of the clinical group to be able to come up with policies that will be good for the clinical group as well. I think we all understand that the doctors, the nurses, the medical professionals, the ones that make the hospital thrive effectively and efficiently. So we need to make sure that clinical policies are aligned with the directions that the clinical group needs.
So, paano yan, Doc? Is there a conscious effort na you divide your time 50-50, na 50% with your patients or at the clinic and then 50% here on the corporate side?
What happened, of course, was I needed to give up a few clinic hours to be able to accommodate the administrative responsibilities. So instead, for example, of having like 4 clinic days a week, I've made it only 3, for example. And but those hours are still able to accommodate people that you need to see. Yun nga lang medyo naging more appointment-based rather than just people walking in. And there are always ways of skinning the cat. Time management lang, Pia, di ba?
Oo nga. And it's important that you're also working with a good team, di ba, Doc?
Right.
Because that helps, ensure that things are running smoothly.
Clarify ko lang, I'm co-CEO.
Co-CEO,
So
yes.
there's another CEO who's the finance guy of the hospital. So we work together hand in hand for Makati Medical Center, while we do not have a CEO yet.
You said that you're actually the first doctor in the family.
I'm the first in my family, but the family I built now, I have 3 doctors. All my 3 children are in medicine. One of them is now full-fledged licensed physician. The second one will take the boards.
Exciting, Doc.
And the third one is finish up medicine proper in UST. So I'm happy with the fact that I've built a family of doctors. doctors.
Oh, you must be so proud, Doc.
I am.
But, Doc, between you and me, were you trying to convince them ba to get into the field of medicine?
Actually, hindi nga eh. I think na-reverse psychology ko sila. Because I know many of my friends who are doctors who really make an effort to convince their children to become doctors. I think medicine and law, at least these two fields, is something you cannot force your children to get into unless they want it. It requires a lot of dedication, a lot of commitment. So if they want to be doctors, you have to want to be. And your parents cannot just influence you to get into it just because they want you to be doctors.
When they were young, Doc, would you bring them with you to the clinic?
Yes. I remember in some of my outpatient clinics, I would take along my eldest and my second to see patients with me. They would do the ECG. They would take the blood pressure. Yeah. And hear this, Pia. I would give them salary for doing that.
Wow.
So it's something they would look forward to as well.
Okay, so at least they knew na parang if they work on something, may kapalit
That's right.
na reward.
That's right.
Oo.
That's right.
Lahat ng mga doktor ngayon, Doc, they know na how to convince their children to also get into the field of medicine. Dalhin lang nila
I think
sa clinic.
if they can see what you are, the kind of work that you do, and they also see what they're up against in the kind of work that you do, then they will have a better understanding of the profession that they're getting into.
But that's great how you describe that, no, Doc? Because parang most of us, our idea is kapag ang magulang mo ay doktor, then they don't normally have enough time to spend with you at home. So now we see that there are ways to work around that.
Siguro I've given them a picture na medyo balanced, which is why I said, okay, I can do this too. So I'm happy with that. I'm very proud of the fact that I've been able to influence them somehow to become doctors.
Do you give them advice, Doc?
Every time.
Do they ask for it? Or binibigay nyo na lang?
I just force them to get it from me.
Ang swerte rin nila, Doc, because they can learn from you and you're right there at home.
And I also learn from them. There are
That's
a lot
such
of things that your children will make you learn in life as well. Dati kasi, during my childhood, parang you cannot ask questions, di ba? You just listen and you just embrace whatever's being offered to you or told to you. But now you have to have a more interactive kind of communication. Give and take. Cannot be just what you want them to do or what you have them doing for you. It has to be give and take.
Oh, that's a great way of putting it, Doc. And when your children hear this episode or watch this episode, they say, my dad learns from me rin pala. They will remind you of that, I'm sure.
Both trivial and deep things I learn also from my children.
Any trivial things you've learned lately from them?
Oh, Korean stuff, my daughter will educate me on these things. Technology, for example, I would ask my sons, Luigi, Franco, can you help me with this gadget? I need to process this better. And they will be very keen on helping me out.
Social media also, Doc.
Diyan ako mahina, and this is why I would take advice from them on how to... Questions like, Luigi, pag in-unfollow ko ba yung isang tao, will he or she learn about it? Di ba yun?
Yun yung number one question ng magulang.
Will he or she learn about it?
Pag blinak ko ba, malalaman nila?
Di ba?
Oo, Doc.
Those are the trivial things. Maybe trivial, pero may mga may mga substantial impact yun if you're not very careful, di ba? Especially in social media.
Nako, sino kaya in-unfollow dyan, Doc?
Ang dami.
Baka check nila, pina-follow pa ba ako ni Doc Bong?
Dati yata, when you unfollow, malalaman nila, di ba?
Yes.
Ngayon, hindi na.
Hindi rin ako sure.
If you really check your followers.
But walang notification that
There are no
Pia unfollowed you. Walang ganun.
Walang ganon. Okay na yun, Doc.
Okay.
Good enough na yun.
Okay, so you make an effort to check kung sino yun.
Yeah.
See, I learned something again.
Growing up, Doc, were your parents, so sabi mo, nobody was a doctor in the family. Were they in what fields were they in?
My parents were handling small businesses on the side. I grew up 100% in my town, Tanawan City, in Batangas. Up to my high school, I finished it all there in Tanawan. And then started my UST days when I went to college. So my pre-med, my medicine proper, my clerkship, internship, and residency were all in UST.
What was the reaction of your parents when you told them that you wanted to be a doctor?
Good.
Are you the
good.
eldest po, Doc?
I'm the youngest.
The youngest.
I'm the
Okay.
youngest. So medyo spoiled ng konti.
So natuwa po silang lahat na may doktor sa pamilya.
Yes, yes.
And when you were in med school, Doc, nakaka-uwi pa po ba kayo?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Ang galing, Doc. Kasi, you know,
Oh.
di ba, my impression is always, if you're in med, if you're a doctor, you're in med school, parang you have no time for anything else.
But let me clarify, nakaka-uwi like
on
in
weekends,
in
yeah.
a month or
Oo.
2 months. But for the most part, you stay in a dormitory in Metro Manila to be able to meet the demands of a medical career.
And you're still friends, Doc, with, kasi parang iba siguro yung bond kapag you're going through the same difficulties and challenges together. So yung mga kabatch nyo.
I'm still maintaining a Viber group with my with
Kasi
my
siguro ng
medicine
group chat
classmates.
nyo.
Oh yeah. We still discuss the same political views, the same aspirations in life.
Okay.
Ngayon we talk about our medications na mini-maintain. So and then what's being happening now with your children. So career orientation na yung mga pinag-uusapan, maintenance medications, frustrations in politics, in government, etc.
Like, iba na yung conversation. But, Doc, was there ever a time that you thought that maybe you should have chosen another profession because it can be so difficult, it can be so frustrating and so challenging?
Honestly, no. I cannot imagine yata myself in another field other than what could have been if I were not a doctor, like architecture, for example. But no, I think this is still my calling to be a doctor and provide whatever I can in terms of healing or treating people.
That really is what medicine is. Na parang it's not just like, you know, a career where, you know, it's about earning your professional fees. It's a calling.
That's right.
It's a public service
That's
too.
right. That's right.
And-
So it's really something that I value as a commitment to what I do. Of course, there's money there. Wala namang... And nobody hates money, di ba? We all want to earn.
Sino bang aayaw? Ganon?
Exactly. We just want to earn things properly for what we do, for the services that we render. But I would think, and I can say this siguro for most of my colleagues in the profession, money is not our main goal in rendering this kind of commitment or service. There's always a service accompaniment to what we do.
Doc, nabanggit niyo, again, like you said, sa UST po kayo, and you have been awarded, I think more than once by UST, different awards as an outstanding alumnus of the university. What does it feel like when you go back to the institution that you came from and you're recognized for the work that you do?
I'm very, very elated and very happy that someone or some institution took note of what I've done, especially because this was part of the COVID pandemic. No? So to be recognized by your institution and bestow on you the highest award that can be given to an alumnus, I'm extremely grateful. I'm extremely grateful.
And how about, Doc, your decision to get into the administrative part of medicine?
What led me to it?
Yeah, what led you to it pa, Doc?
I don't know. It's probably, again, it may sound like a cliche, but it's something that I really didn't aspire for. Just get to be offered, siguro, at the time that I was ready to take on the job. No? One of the things that really somehow convinced me to get into it was, ang CEO ko kasi ng PIA was a doctor. So sabi ko, baka kaya ko to kasi yung boss ko is a doctor. Maybe it's a language that we can both understand and maybe I can take on the job. So I took it. Little did I know that in a few months, COVID is coming over.
We all remember how how you handled various situations during the pandemic, because it was a very difficult time for everyone, and most especially for those in the healthcare sector. At that time, when you first heard of like the number of cases in China, in other countries, Japan, ganyan, may konting kaba na po ba kayo na baka umabot rin dito sa Pilipinas?
Hindi lang konti, malaking kaba ko na darating sa Philippines siya. And just to give you a sidelight of that era that we all view as a nightmare, naging medical director kasi ako in 2019.
Oh, so right before.
Around October.
Okay.
By December, we already had news of the Wuhan virus. By March of the following year, 2020, we had our first case in Makati Medical Center.
Oh.
So, what are the odds that when you took on a job as medical director, there's a COVID pandemic
Oo nga.
waiting for you. But it's, sabi ko, maybe this is something that's really meant to be handled or confronted during this particular time. And we just did our best. But it's something you wouldn't wish on your enemies, this COVID, this COVID pandemic. It's really a nightmare, especially during that time. It's a disease we hardly knew anything about. We didn't know how to treat it. We've never been in a pandemic in our lifetime, so it's the first pandemic in our lifetime. So the impact is tremendous. You see some of your nurses down with COVID. You hear of doctors dying from COVID. You're running out of PPE, for example, and masks. You have a hospital in full capacity. And you're a neophyte medical director during that time. So all of those are competing elements of what can be a potentially nightmarish situation. But we're just happy that we braced along and we can look back and laugh about it and talk about it. But during that time, it
Hindi
wasn't-
kaya. I sometimes feel that it was so long ago, yet it was just like yesterday also.
Right.
But
Parang ano lang siya, parang blip in our
Oo
existence. 3 or 4 years have passed. And now we are looking back at it with, with a lot of lessons learned, for example. I will tell you this. Siguro third quarter or fourth quarter of 2020. So we've had COVID for around maybe 4 or 5 months. I can already feel the emotional and mental toll. I would sometimes stare at the wilderness and just, what's going to happen next? You planned for something on a weekend. By the week that followed, everything that you planned for needed to be overhauled already because they won't work anymore. So when I experienced that kind of emotional and mental toll on me, I said, it's time for my team also, my management team, to get some breather from me. So we invited a psychologist to give a pep talk to the team by Zoom. Zoom is one of the best things we've learned from the pandemic. Di ba?
yeah, that we can use until now. No,
Exactly. So I said, we need some psychological upliftment from what we are doing for the last 5 or 6 months. And everyone felt the relief coming from that maybe 2 or 3 hour session.
Were there other things, Doc, that helped you through that time? I mean, like on a personal level, what got you through it?
This may sound like a cliche, but prayers, certainly. But I will tell you, there are a couple of things that made us able to go through the pandemic. And you will agree with me. If you have, of course, a family with you, your pets, internet.
the good part of the internet.
Because suddenly people were devoting time to plants, were devoting time to hobbies like sculpture or carpentry, just anything that can keep your mind occupied while you're on quarantine or lockdown. So I think on a personal level, those are the things that made me cope with the demands of the pandemic during that time.
Were there times, Doc, that you yourself had to like quarantine or parang, I mean, napraning ba kayo na baka you caught the
Towards
virus?
siguro the latter part na just, I think the Omicron virus na. But I will tell you that during the first salvo, the first siguro 2 or 3 surges of COVID, I relocated my office. I'm holding office in the hospital itself. So I had to move to the building away from the hospital to protect myself as well.
And so you can continue operations?
Exactly. So we needed to also protect ourselves to make sure that the entire machinery will go on during the COVID pandemic.
Okay. But you were still able to go home naman, Doc?
Oh yeah.
Oo.
yeah.
Very important rin kasi.
Good thing for us was libre yung toll natin, di ba? Namin.
Yes.
And then you have these special passes that the traffic police will allow you to navigate through because they know that you're a healthcare provider.
Do you still remember when maybe the first time you were able to breathe a sigh of relief was? Yung parang after everything that happened, at what point did you realize na, okay, we're getting out of this? Parang we're reaching the end of this tunnel.
Roller coaster tayo, Pia, nun eh. Whenever the surge will somehow improve, sabi ko, maybe this is it. We're getting close to the end of it. Then you get another surge, and then you get more cases again. We've been through the Delta virus, which is one of the worst. We had the most number of people going to the ICU, the most number of people being stranded in the emergency room because we had no vacancy. So, and the most number of people being intubated and becoming critical. That was one of the worst phases. So I said roller coaster because you feel a certain relief that it's over, and then you get into another surge again. So you build up the mental exhaustion again, and then you go through. We've had, I think, 4 or 5 surges in Makati Med. So each time takes on another impact on my team and in the entire community of Makati Med as well. And I'm sure in the community then.
But I remember, Doc, also you had a very positive outlook. You would say that for every parang bit of bad news that we would hear about the virus,
Right.
you would talk about how there are patients who do survive and
That's
that
right.
there's a great number of those who leave the hospital feeling better.
That's right. For, one of the platforms I made use of during the time of the pandemic was to communicate to my community, to the community of Makati Med, what we are doing, updates on the COVID, okay? And then whenever I make known some bad news, I try to punctuate it with some positive news, uplifting, stabilizing, empowering. And I think that's how we all managed to get through with a difficult, vicious pandemic that we saw.
Doc, do you think that after the pandemic, parang nagkaroon ng newfound appreciation for our healthcare workers?
I believe so. I believe so. Kasi, di ba marami nga sila mga posters noon and promulgations that these are the actual heroes of the pandemic. So, I perfectly believe so.
But I suppose that came also with a lot of frustration during
yeah.
the pandemic.
Oh, yeah. Marami.
Maraming frustration.
Marami.
How would you deal with that, Doc? Because it's very difficult. You're trying your best to impose certain measures and all that, and then there's just resistance from other people.
That's true. And resistance can come from various areas. It can come from a few of your fellow doctors or your colleagues, for example. Manageable naman yan. It can sometimes come from the community or even from people in government. So there are things that you would like to accomplish in the smoothest way possible, but sometimes you cannot because there are some interferences that sometimes get in the way of what you want to do.
Doc, now kasi di ba we're in the middle of budget deliberations sa Congress. Do you think there's something that they should focus on in particular when it comes to healthcare?
Well, I just hope that government really puts substantial budget on healthcare. Pero budget na gagamitin na maayos for healthcare.
Yung mapupunta talaga sa
Budget
healthcare,
na
Doc.
hindi mapupunta sa selected pockets of corrupt officials. And I think it's a sentiment that is very strong coming from everyone, including doctors. We just want to make sure that our funds are being used properly and appropriately for the intended objectives, intended goals. And healthcare certainly one of them. Healthcare, education, di ba? These are flood control.
Yes, Doc.
Di ba?
Well, Doc, Makati Med prides itself in being the hospital with a heart. How would you describe Makati Med as a hospital with a heart? What does this mean?
Well, the hospital with the heart is anchored on compassionate care. Yun yung aming tagline that we use. The vernacular is malasakit, di ba? So it's a hospital that renders care with physicians, nurses, pharmacists, everyone else committed to rendering care that is professional, ethical, compassionate, competent, and patient-centered. So yun yung usual formula that we come up with to be able to say we are a hospital with a heart.
And Doc, minsan kasi there are some people, parang minamasama nila the fact that a hospital is also a business. I mean, syempre you need income to be able to operate as well.
That's right.
So how do you respond to that, Doc?
We always maintain the fact that it's a reasonably priced kind of service. We never use the word cheap kasi it may not be cheap to some people, no? But reasonably priced for the kind of service that you aspire for. If you aspire for a certain quality of care, there are issues that need to be addressed, no? It should be safe, it should be accurate, it should be reliable, and it should be given with compassion. Ika nga. So all of those are ingredients to make sure that what you purport your institution to be is indeed what it is, the hospital with a heart.
So, Doc, all in all, how long have you been in the medical profession?
Wow, you're asking about my age now.
No naman, Doc. Pwede
Wait,
natin umpisan yung count sa med school.
More
if you
than
like.
30 years.
30 years?
30 years.
Okay.
30 years. That includes the practice lang yan, ha? Clinical practice na yan. So, i-add mo na lang dyan yung medical studies, medicine proper. And then you come up with a good number.
Okay
That
lang,
will
Doc. That's
inevitably tell you I'm a senior already.
Pero Doc, we were looking through your biography, your CV, and you had fellowships also abroad, but you
Right.
chose to stay here and practice. And to me, that is actually something quite admirable and impressive because so many people nowadays, parang they choose to live abroad, work abroad, and pursue careers abroad. What made you decide to stay here and practice here?
The support system of your community is very, very important, which you won't get abroad, for example. And the kind of practice that we are handling in the Philippines, it's a very, mga pasyente ng Filipino, very loyal yan. They really build a relationship with the physicians. So much so that physicians can become your sponsors in wedding, their family, friends. They're invited to all gatherings. Kung minsan, madyong partner mo pa yan. That is how doctors are treated by their patients in the country. No? In the States, you're just one of the doctors. Most of them are group practices. So the doctor you see now won't be the same doctor you will see next time. They will just look at your charts and continue on the care that you're getting. Here, hindi. Which is why extended ang client base mo when you have a doctor whose patients are loyal to you. The family of that patient will go to you, including the house help, the drivers, extended families, and everyone will eventually become your patients. As I speak, ang mga hinahandle ko na ngayon, mga anak na ng mga pasyente ko. No? Some of them have become doctors already. So that's how long I've been in practice with.
Well, Doc, so we've seen, both the challenges and, the benefits of being a doctor. But to you, what is essentially the best part about being a doctor?
The best part of being a doctor is at least you maintain the kind of reputation that doctors deserve. You get accorded some degree of respect naman. Unlike other fields, di ba? And I won't mention any more anything. But you get that kind of regard that other fields may not derive from the people around them. And to me, that is the best thing that accrues with being a physician in any place, Plus, the kind of work that you do is different. You save lives, you heal people from their afflictions, you ease pain. How can you argue with that kind of predicament, di ba?
Parang after listening to you, Doc, pwede ba kami mag-doktor?
Pwede.
Kaya ba? Ilang years ulit, Doc?
Pia, mukha kang pediatrician. You'll be a perfect pediatrician.
Pwede bang derma-doc?
Pwede rin. Perfect din. So you have several options. Dermatology, pediatrics.
Pediatrician. OB, pwede rin OB.
Pwede.
So on the show, have a part called Confessions of an Icon, where we ask you rapid-fire questions. So Doc, the first thing that comes to your mind is what you will tell us. So if you're ready, Doc, we shall begin with the Confessions of an Icon of Dr. Javier. Okay, so Doc, given the heavy responsibilities you take on as a CEO and doctor, would you exchange it for anything, or would you say that you still wouldn't have it any other way?
I wouldn't have it any other way.
That was quick. May explanation ba yun, Doc?
Wala na. I think self-explanatory.
So this is something you see yourself still doing for a very long time?
Not very long time. I look forward to retirement too.
Okay.
But for now, yes.
All right.
Wouldn't see it any other way.
Based on experience and observation, how much sleep do healthcare workers actually get? And how much do they really need?
Ideally, we should get 7 to 8, but 5 to 6 is average.
That's the reality, 5
That's
to
the
6
reality.
hours.
And as you get older, the number of hours of sleep that you get becomes less. 4 to 5 for some people in their 70s or 80s would be good enough. But for the younger people, maybe 6, 7 would be ideal.
Okay. Ganun pala yun, Doc? Habang
Yeah.
tumatanda?
Oh, yeah.
I would have
You
thought
would hear your folks siguro complaining, couldn't sleep anymore at night.
Okay.
Binabawi naman nila during daytime.
Oo nga, may siesta. At the end of the day, when you're stripped of your roles as doctor and leader, what's a personal oath that you promise to uphold to yourself or for yourself?
I will maintain my respectability and dignity as a person, as a professional.
Naka, Doc. And of course, that will pass on to your children.
I hope so too, and I pray so.
So, Doc, for those listening to us who are, discerning on whether or not they should pursue a career in medicine, what would you tell them?
You have to really want to be a doctor to really enjoy the craft that you're getting into. Maybe you should identify role models in life. Ito siguro yung path na gusto kong tahakin. And therefore, if it's a doctor's path that I would like to tackle, go for it. Go for it. But don't do anything na napipilitan ka. You won't enjoy it. I've heard of people quitting medicine in their 3rd year proper, and that's something you wouldn't want to happen to anyone. So make sure that you're getting into medicine. It's something that you really want. Because it requires a lot of sacrifice and commitment.
And Doc, on the show also, we feature powerful, influential figures. To you, what is power or influence, and how is it best used?
Power is something that can make you change and mold opinion. It's never physical, but the persuasiveness of what you do, either by communication or by example, is how you make an impact with your strength or power.
Dr. Bong
Diba?
Javier, thank you so much for guesting
Thank
on
you.
Power Talks. Thank
I
you so
really
much,
enjoyed
Doc.
this. Thank you,
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and download Power Talks with PR Kanghel on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, GMA Integrated News streaming platforms, or wherever you listen. To the next episode.